just providing the diversity of opportunity has helped people be able to tailor volunteerism and fit their routines, and we're really able to meet people where they're at. And I think being able to have the opportunity to do that and provide opportunities for people, like opportunity is one of our favorite words. You'll hear me say it a million times, is so special, and I think has allowed NEST4US to be so appealing to volunteers, donors, community members across the world, is because of that easiness and that freeness.
Welcome to Tribe Talk, where we alternate between young changemakers and long-standing leaders in the social impact space. I'm here with Esha Venkat, founder and COO of NEST4US. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Wonderful. Well, before we begin, I want to say Tribe is sponsored by Raise, a mobile-first platform powering individual activism, corporate giving, and nonprofit volunteerism. So download Raise on Google Play or the App Store to give, volunteer, and connect.
Streamer. Tribe Talk is a streamer studio production. Stream your podcast, stream your story, stream yourself. Try it free at streamr.nyc. Make your voice, brand, and message seen and heard on every platform today.
So, Esha, thank you so much for being one of the Tribe cohort members as well, really on the journey as we've gotten started. But as we've been getting started, something that has been extremely inspiring to me is just how much time has passed since you got started. Could you tell me about your beginnings and the start of your journey?
Absolutely. It feels like forever ago. But I remember my service journey. I started NEST4US, my organization, at age 10. But my journey into this world of community service started a long time before that. I got to shout out my mom. She was the one who brought me to different volunteer events, community events, school events, even when I was super young. So she would take me and my older sister along with her. And I remember being there, and my mom was a part of the PTA. So, she could sneak us in, our two little kids, and we'd wake up at 6 a.m., go to all these different volunteer events. And, as a kid, you would think, oh, okay, like 6 a.m., this is so early, but going there and just interacting with my teachers, the school people there, and just seeing everyone smile and being so grateful and thankful for just us being there, and just this atmosphere and this environment of volunteerism was something unlike anything that we've ever been a part of before. And so we thought, how do we create this same energy, that same joy that we felt with our family volunteering together, and kind of expand that to other families and other friends across the community? And we also noticed, we look around the room to all the other volunteers, it would only be other PTA volunteers or PTA volunteers and their children. And we thought, there are other young people like our friends or our peers who also want a chance to volunteer, but maybe don't have that same access to that same opportunity. So we thought, how do we create something where we can get opportunities for everybody, whether you're 3 years old or 90 years old, to come together and volunteer in an area of their passion. So we started just directly in our schools. We created this little organization called NEST4US, and really as a nest or a home or a family, a community really, where people, for all of us, can get involved and volunteer together. And we've grown so much since then. It's going to be year 10 next year, which is crazy to say, but just so many amazing people and volunteers and community. And of course, like community partners like Tribe, who've helped us scale up and do the work that we do. But those beginnings, I'll never forget those initial volunteer events that really spurred it all.
Right. Well, there's a saying that, first off, 80% of nonprofits don't make it 1 year. So to reach 10 is really the real milestone, where you recognize it's not just about the support or ways that you got started, but the consistent drive and push. It's no surprise that waking up early at 6 a.m. transferred through. I definitely remember at the summit waking up at 6 a.m. to go to the gym. How has this kind of routine, especially the routine to maintain NEST in your life throughout all the transitions, as well as the routine to start early, shape the way that you work?
I love that. I think routine is one of the biggest things that we try to also provide and give opportunities for young people to make service and kindness more of a routine in their lives. Like you're talking about, it's so easy to kind of just do one volunteer event or start an organization for a few months and then let it go. So for us, we really want to try to make volunteering as easy and simple as possible to keep coming back to and kind of build it into your routine. And that's where I've seen NEST4US kind of make a big impact on my life. I have the Google Calendar, I have all of that there. And I think just making sure that, we block out everything in our schedule, time to study for finals, like that's coming up soon for me, and, do things with your friends, go to the movies. So it's like, why can't we block out that same time for volunteerism, for service, for, giving back to your community? So I feel like that mindset is something that I've tried to hold on to my life and has allowed us for us to get to where it is today, but also to inspire other people to also think differently about the way that they're spending their time and thinking, hey, maybe I'm not too busy to volunteer or give back. I just need to build that into my schedule and my routine, and it makes it so much easier. So for us, we have like volunteer opportunities like daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. So it's really easy for people to say, hey, Tuesday nights, after soccer practice, I'm ready to volunteer. Or maybe there's a family who works 9 to 5 and they can only do events in the morning. So we have events even at 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. So just providing the diversity of opportunity has helped people be able to tailor volunteerism and fit their routines. And we're really able to meet people where they're at. And I think being able to have the opportunity to do that and provide opportunities for people, like opportunity is one of our favorite words. You'll hear me say it a million times, is so special, and I think has allowed NEST for us to be so appealing to volunteers, donors, community members across the world, is because of that easiness and that freeness, and just you can do whatever you want in our organization. We have 5 programs. You can do things with food insecurity, with education, leadership, climate change. We have a program where, we pack birthday presents for kids who may not be able to afford a birthday party. So you can really pick your interests in what you like. And we've seen that people really like that and are able to dive deeper into their specific interest or interests. And it's helped us grow to the scale that we have at this time.
Right. And certainly when you talk about diverse programs and opportunities, some people think, oh, that's great. Like you got 10, 20 people here or there. You've done over 5 million, like $6.5 million worth of volunteer hours supported. I mean, you've scaled to almost 10,000 volunteers. You've hit reach. You've proven that opportunities at scale over time can lead to this number. But that's not the number you had at the start, to be sure. Like, how long was it just, you, and I would love to dive into like this relationship between you and your sister too, getting this started together, right? This like finding one person and showing up. But how long was it small scale?
Yeah, it started off with just me and my sister in the very beginning. And we started exactly where we found that spark in our schools. We were reaching out to our friends, our teachers, people just directly in our local community. I'm from Northern Virginia, so we started off in my middle school or high school. And then we started, doing simple projects as simple things that, young people can do at that time, which like writing notes of kindness, handing out things like sandwich bags and stuff like that. And, as time went on, people started to come to us and say, hey, what about tutoring? What about this? We were like, okay, like, why not? We'll do it all. We'll try our best. And, people started to notice, and then more schools started getting involved. And I'd say one of the biggest turning points that kind of changed us from a small scale organization to more of a larger scale one was actually COVID. Funny enough, in 2020, the world stopped. And as for us, we never thought, hey, we need to stop. We need to stop operations, because that was the time when, the need was even more, right? People were, suffering from, lack of food access. People in schools, the schools were closed. How are people going to get access to learning? So there's all these different gaps that arose. And we really used COVID as a chance to do a lot of our operations online. So we completely revolutionized our tutoring program, for example, NEST Tutors, and we're able to scale and get volunteers, not just in our local community in the DC metro area, but also locally, nationally, and even globally, connecting people all across the world with different cultures. It really increased the diversity of our volunteer base, as well as creating our NEST Inspires program, which is our leadership program. My sister and I have gone amazing chances to be a part of different global boards and organizations like Points of Light or Giving Tuesday, which is what we're celebrating here today. And with all these boards, we've had the chance to go to different conferences and summits and meet very cool people, like, at the Tribe Summit. And for example, we're meeting all these people, but the important thing for us is we want to bring these people back to the community. For anybody who maybe not had that chance or that opportunity to go into these spaces and hear from them directly. And I think, connecting with these different big organizations at various scales have helped us, increase the amount of people exposed to social issues, like learning about the Sustainable Development Goals from the UN, or learning about what climate change is, or kindness and the power of gratitude and all of these things, and then really scale out. So I would say COVID was one of those biggest turning points of really helping us think, okay, how do we revolutionize and use technology, social media, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, all these platforms we're using now, and how do we connect with people and really scale our impact that way? So I would say that was a huge jump, but again, like 10 years, our growth didn't happen overnight. It kind of went from 100 to 500, 1,000. 5,000, I would say, within that 2020 jump. And then now we're really trying to reach that 10,000 volunteer mark. And, as we continue on, just trying to get as many people into our little nest as possible and continue scaling.
Right. So with COVID, I've noticed a lot of people discussing that COVID was this turning point. It seems no surprise that when there's so many problems, those that are prioritizing impact start building their own solutions, right? Focusing on the problem really drives forward. But you certainly didn't start during COVID. But when you say that you scaled or picked up, right, that would have been, 4 or 5 years into the organization already. So right before COVID, were you at that 500 mark? Or where exactly were you in the first 5 years?
In the first 5 years, let's see, what are we at now? Let me do the backwards math. So we're at 9,000 volunteers now, which is an incredible number. I'm just so grateful to all of our volunteers to even be able to say that out loud to you today, Kyle. But I would say at that time, it was probably about half. Like it kind of grew like in a very like normal way. It wasn't like a huge jump here and there. So I'd probably say like 4,000, is that right? Maybe like three to 4,000, I would say is kind of there. And then we got like 2 to 3, 4 more thousand as the years as during COVID when we expanded from just kind of looking in the DMV to nationally. So I would say that would be the approximate number, but I'm not exactly sure on that end.
I think that really speaks to the fact that there's people who can get people to come volunteer once, and there's organizations where people come back. And it's that repeat, like you said earlier, to tie back into the theme of routine, right? When people return to an organization, it not only signifies that there's something of value there that should stay, but also that they appreciate it for themselves.
Yeah, we have a lot of returners. It's amazing. Like one of them even like invited us to their wedding soon enough. So it's like it's just having that relationship, I think, is what hopefully sets us apart from other organizations. Like we love our volunteers. Like I'm not lying when I say that. Like I love seeing our volunteers excel, not just with Nest for Us, but in their life's pursuits. And we have an annual event every year, actually, our Nest for Us Service Extravaganza. We just started a few years ago, and really it's a chance for us to honor and recognize our volunteers and all the amazing things that they do through Nest for Us, as well as for our community to try out all the different projects that we have. I think we have like 30 service projects now that we've created over the years, and it's just a great event, to be able to see our young volunteers. Our youngest is 3 years old, as our oldest is 90, just coming together and volunteering. Yeah, like giving out water bottles. Like people don't understand. Like I saw this psychology study or something where like kids is maybe 10 months or 8 months like know the concept of like equality and fairness and stuff like that. So I think we think like, oh, like young people, they don't really know things. They should wait until they're older. But I think that we have a good grasp of these concepts of, there are problems that are going on in the world, like COVID, or people don't have access to these different resources. Like we understand that at a young age. And I think it's really important that we take that understanding that we have so young and are able to cultivate that and actually channel that into action. And that's the model or approach that we use at Nest for Us with awareness plus action, is saying like, hey, these are the issues that are going on in the world right now. And then, hey, this is exactly how you can take action with other members of your community. So we really try to approach all of the work that we do with that mindset. And it hasn't just started like that too. I think to go back to your point of why Nest for Us has been able to be so long-standing is we're always iterating. We're always adapting and innovating and creating new programs. Like we didn't start with 5 programs at the beginning. We started with like one project. We were just, focusing on schools, and then we expanded. And I think every year after we started to create like 2 new initiatives every year. Like we started doing things with like school supply drives, and now coming up, we're doing our holiday toy drive, which is exciting, that we started a few years ago as well. So just these different when we identify a need in the community, like COVID, we started giving out PPE and masks and toiletries and stuff because that was the big need at the time. So I think being able to adapt and really adjust and take feedback from our volunteers, from our community, has allowed us to really be best positioned to provide those opportunities and to also serve our community to the best of our ability. So I think that's really the main reason why we've been able to go from that 100 volunteers in the beginning all the way to our 9,000 that we are today.
Right. I would say you're very wise for your age, but it seems like that's the exact bias that your organization is addressing. That there's no misconception. There is a misconception. Young people within a year, especially when you consider nature and nurture, are able to recognize lack or opportunity. Gratitude is something inherent in all of us. It's just a way to express it that maybe is taught, right? So that certainly speaks a lot to your family as well, to be able to recognize these and to encourage others. I'm lucky. When I was younger, I taught self-defense for students age 4 to 68. Not 3 to 90, you've got the range. But certainly you realize really quickly that you're learning from everybody. And let's dive into that. Tell me, especially with this extravaganza, you've built an event to highlight their works, which means you honor and value the fact that you appreciate them and have learned from them. But tell me more about like what you've learned or how the program has actually been supported and uplifted by those that originally were just volunteers.
100%. I think Nest for us as we know it today would not exist without our volunteers or our community, right? That the idea is that, we as, a youth-founded organization many years ago, we didn't start with a lot of money. We don't have a lot of money today. So really the crux of the work that we do is built on people-powered impact is what we like to call it. It's completely volunteer run. It's based on our community support. So I think without acknowledging that or realizing that or that the crucial role that our volunteers play in what we do, is you can't do anything without them. So I think that's why we really try to make it a central point, an essential feature of Nest for us is to honor those who are the foundation, those branches of our nest that allow us to continue to do the work that we do every day. So it was honestly a no-brainer when we thought of, oh, let's have an annual event to just highlight the amazing work that we've done throughout the year, whether you're a Nest tutor or you're, creating those birthday boxes or sending us kindness notes from California. We get a lot of those actually. So it's just whoever you are, wherever you are, we want to be able to acknowledge the different ways that people are able to make an impact, whether you've been with us for a year, 5 years, or all the way since the beginning, or you're a teacher supporting us and getting your class to volunteer. You're a leader of a Girl Scout troop that's coming to volunteer. We have all these different people who come in. You're a corporate business, we're working a lot with different corporate social responsibility teams with like Amazon and Tech, Booz Allen, Hamilton, which has been really special to do service projects with their employees, having bonding events because everybody deserves this culture of connection, right? It's not just young people. We're working with large scale entities to really bring volunteerism and connection back into their community. I think COVID is a good example of how it highlighted how maybe how disconnected we were from each other. And I think, but even long before that and even long after, we're still feeling that disconnect and that, lack of togetherness, right? We can be behind a screen and typing all these things or looking at events that are going on in our community and not actually take action. And I think bringing people back into the community, our volunteers, and really having them see each other in person and work together is a totally different feeling. And I'm just glad at Nest for us that we're able to provide and create this platform or that space where people can come together and have that feeling. So I volunteers are our number one. I actually at all of our service events, one of my favorite things to do, I come back and forth. I go to school at Georgia Tech, so I'm going back and forth from DC to Atlanta all the time. The airport staff knows me by now. It's really funny. But I go back and one of my favorite things is I memorize the names of all of our volunteers. Like I'm being serious. Anybody who asks you come to any of our events, like I really try to make sure I know their names, what school they go to, maybe what their future passions are. We have a playlist, a Nest for Us playlist where people can, add a song. I love music, so they can add a song and it just keeps building like that. So volunteers are also able to see like their impact or their continued sustained involvement, even in fun ways and silly ways as they keep coming to different events. And, we try to really make that home or that community feel at all of our events. And I think it's been so special and it's really touched me in so many ways. You asked in the beginning, I'm totally losing my plot of the question because I love to talk about my volunteers. I could go on and on, but really they've taught me so much about what it means to show up in your community, like point blank. We have all these needs like I talked about. The people we need a rescue from a new store and this person, we have this emergency food rescue, we have this needing here. But the reason we're able to meet all these demands and these needs is because there are volunteers in our community who are stepping up, who say, yes, like I'm there, I'm here, I'm going to do this for you all. And genuinely, like we wouldn't be at 9,000, we'd probably still be at 100 if we didn't have those volunteers from all across. So it's definitely a huge help and a huge foundation to what we do at Nest for Us. And continuing as we're talking about the next 10 years is that's going to be the foundation of what we do, and it will continue to be the foundation for years to come.
Right. The culture of connection and community starts top down, or as we like to say in Tribe, bottom up, where you serve everyone, you remember everybody's names. I want to touch on something very unique with you, which is you are very much a boots on the ground founder and leader, right? You are in the trenches as they say, with the volunteers. There is no distinction. I think there's this perception that like founders nowadays need to be, the joke is B2B SaaS, but in reality, it's just like you are in technology, you are behind a computer, you are in management. But management means so much more than just leveraging technology. Management means being with others. Orchestrating means being in the pit, right? As well. So I love that you're right there. You're remembering names. Even when you came to our summit, you were very proactive and a bubbly source of energy. Right? So you immediately connect with people. You appreciate them for what they're doing. You sync up to their levels like a chameleon. And I will say I'm excited and cautious because I think that when things grow continuously, it'll be a challenge that people will recognize from a video such as this, that, oh, you think you can remember my name, college, and where I'm going. But I'm not surprised and won't be surprised when you show them wrong, or I guess show them right, that you have an impeccable memory. It's also what's allowed you to do so much. Let's pivot. Tell me more about your relationship with your sister, building something as a family, and how that's been.
It's been absolutely incredible. And I love that you said boots on the ground too, because that's one of my favorite things about Shreya and I is we're both very much like, of course we do the management stuff behind the scenes. We're doing the technology stuff. Like I like that stuff a lot, honestly. Like social media and all of that is one of my favorite things to do. But that's one of the things I remember like us discussing, like we were never going to be those people that sit at the top of the stage and, we're like hands relaxed, watching all of our volunteers do what they have to do. We're always there doing the work. And my sister is the same way. Like I'm talking from my own perspective, but she's the same way going to volunteers, having fun with them. Sometimes we send like Instagram reels to our volunteers. We're just connecting on ways that's beyond that. And I think that's something that's been special between me and my sister for so long, as we have that shared mission and that same drive and same goal to really connect and make kindness and compassion the norm. And it's been such an honor for me to have an older sister like my sister Shreya, who is so I can't even like I'm gonna start crying if I talk about her. Like genuinely, she's made such an impact on my life. She's like my favorite person in the whole world. And being able to not just, have her as my sister and have her in my corner, but to do the same passion and the same mission-driven work that we do together just makes it even better. And also we have different strengths too. I think is really unique about us leading together as sisters is you may not believe this when I say it to you now, but I'm not really much of the talker as I've been talking for so long. I much prefer kind of being behind the scenes, doing more of the work technologically, and she's the CEO, so she's out there in the field talking, and she's always been more of the extrovert than me. So I had to learn a lot from her is because, I have opportunities like these, being on Tribe Talk or being on different podcasts and speaking at all these cool events, I needed to kind of develop those skills. And Shreya was able to kind of mentor me and teach me the best ways to do that and help me through those challenging moments that I had when I was pretty young. Hopefully, I'm doing better now. But for her, it was kind of the flip side. She never liked doing anything on the computer. She was like, I don't like the CS stuff. I'm not going to do this. And now, like, I was always, doing the video editing and our Canvas and all that. Now, like, we call her Canva Queen in our house. Like, she's the one who does all of our flyers and all of that stuff. So I think that we've been able to kind of build off of each other's strengths and weaknesses, but also like learn and teach each other the things that we were kind of lacking in the beginning. And we've kind of developed this super strength, powerful force together. And I think something that people don't really think about, you think, oh, like Shreya and Esha, like running this organization together, but it really takes a lot of collaboration and connection, especially since right now we're in different places as well. I'm over in Georgia Tech in Atlanta, and our base is here in DC, the DMV area. So we always are on WhatsApp, calling. I'm always on my phone, messaging her. And I think just having that shared mission and that passion, and we both really want to do this work. Yes, we fight, we have disagreements, but usually it's not anything more than just like, make this purple, no, make this green, stuff like that we fight about like sisters. But we get over it in 5 seconds. Kyle, you have lots of siblings. So it's just that back and forth. But again, we always know that whatever we talk about, we argue about, we discuss about is all towards that greater mission of getting volunteers together and building our nest. And I think that trumps all. And we always have that in the back of our minds whenever we're having these discussions. So it's been amazing. And I'm just very glad that she's in my corner, and our parents too. They were the ones who started us volunteering when we were young, and they're still, of course, involved and are still supporting us today. So really they're our original nest, right? The original four branches, all four of us together in our nest. So for us to have their support for all these years, and I know for the years to come, like I can can blindly say that to you, that they'll be supporting us for the years to come, is really a blessing. And I know that out there are young people who may not have that support system, or even anybody who's trying to create something special or related to service. And we try to be that family again and step in to be that support system for people.
Right. And something that I've noticed is families come together a lot more when they have a shared impact that they're realizing, right? When we were bringing on you and the first cohort, we had to do our due diligence and research on how we're going to support this community, right? And so we read a variety of books and had our book club set up. So we were reading everything from Jonathan Haidt and Anxious Generation over to Atomic Habits and the routine aspect, right? Which I'm sure we've definitely talked about these books as well with how they've modeled your work. But when we talk about a new wave of isolation and exacerbation from the pandemic, and then we hear stories of families that come together because they're volunteering, what really speaks out is not just the fact that you're volunteering, but you are connecting yourself with your community. And by doing so, you feel like you belong. And of course, you've built an organization too, but how do you feel like you've taken that belonging, which has worked so well for you and your relationship with your sister and family, and spread it to, going back to the end, to your favorite topic, to your volunteers?
That's the thing. I think that's what makes NEST4US so special, is that we took this feeling of belonging and this feeling of connection and wanted to embed it in all the different facets of the programs or initiatives that we do. And I think you can see that, like you kind of were talking about top down, bottom up, is that we create this culture of, hey, how are you? We're all talking to each other, we're playing music, we're having a fun time. Like now it's holiday season, so I'm playing all of the holiday music, like you already know. It's just creating this environment, I think is one of my favorite things to do at NEST4US. And not only with the work that we do, but in all of my communities. In my college community, I played so many sports. I also did self-defense and martial arts. So just whatever community I think that you're a part of, it's sort of, I think to be a community member, to have a village, you need to be a good villager, is that kind of quote. And I think if me and my sister can be that villager, that example, hopefully, of this is what community looks like, this is what's important, then we can kind of inspire and create this village where more people are stepping up to be that villager for their community. And I think hopefully that at NEST4US we can have those programming and those ideas and those people who really understand what's important, and what's important is connection. And I think kind of touching us also on community, when people come to our events, sometimes they come with another friend or another family member, and some people come alone. And I think what's cool and unique is that we kind of mix, people can mix around and make new friends. And we've seen people come back to events because they've made a new friend that they haven't before, or they're volunteering like a mom and a son, or two brothers who are volunteering together. So I see this mixing of old communities, new communities, and this kind of mix between all of them that's really special. And I think can also create and make volunteering more routine when more people are coming back and forth for all these various different reasons. And again, like I think our job at NEST4US is to just make these interactions in these communities and connections as simple as possible. And because that's the first lack or the first gap, is that there aren't these opportunities where people can come together anymore. We talk about third places all the time, right? We're in school, we're in work, but is there really a place in the community where we can all come together and just talk and vibe and do something good for the community? There really isn't. So we try to fill that gap and make it as simple as possible for people to come together. And I think it's worked really well. Like I said, my volunteers, I don't even like to say my volunteers, like they're my friends, they're my family as well. And being able to have like a second family, honestly, has been a blessing for me. And I know that culture of belonging, our volunteers feel the same way and have those lifelong friendships through NEST4US.
That's very interesting. I'll have to think more about the third place, which perhaps has been replaced by online community, right? Social media being our third place of togetherness. To wrap up, thank you so much for your time. One of the phrases we use is that everybody wants a village, nobody wants to be a villager. And so whereas I made a tribe, you made a nest. And so thank you so much for being one of the facilitators and recreating what it means to come together to make meaning and impact and establish something that can scale beyond your local region or local community to something that can impact people everywhere.
Thank you.
Tribe Talk is a Streamer Studio production. Visit Streamer at streamr.nyc. I'm grateful to the team that made this happen. Executive producer David Walters, videography and editing by David Walters, and graphic design by Tristan Bresnan. Hosted by me, Kyle Mathis. Tribe, to the moon!